So you've probably seen the news that Hi-Rez announced that Smite will be getting upgraded from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 5 after its 10-year reign on the old engine. But the question is, will Rogue Company ever launch a 2.0? And if it did, what would it need to do to succeed? So first of all, let's talk Unreal Engines. Well, Rogue Company already operates on Unreal Engine 4, and the upgrade to Unreal Engine 5 probably won't make too much of a difference in terms of visually and how the game runs. So I think Unreal Engine 4 isn't Rogue Company's big problem. However, one of the big problems I think Rogue Company had is losing its identity from how the game was back in alpha/early beta to where the games eventually ended up after launch, and everything in between that Rogue Company tried to implement, and it's kind of a split the player base. So all those that are around pre-alpha or like in alpha days, early beta days, you'll know that Rogue Company's buy screens used to look green, you used to have 6 perks, and rogues were locked into one of 2 guns, which meant picking rogues for their guns did matter, but actually picking rogues for your team composition mattered a lot more. And interestingly, Rogue Company didn't have to focus all their time nerfing and buffing the meta weapons. They could just do everything generally, and it didn't matter as much. And personally, I like this because it meant that there was a lot more variety of guns being used. But I don't dislike weapon mastery. I think it's really good, especially when you're playing on more casual game modes like Team Deathmatch, and you just want to pop on and you just want to log on with your pals and rain down some enemies. I have no problem with weapon mastery in itself. I just feel like it's one of the big things that have shifted from its original state to where it's at now. And one of the other big things is going from 6 to 8 perks, and some of the perks just don't make sense, and I feel like they shouldn't be in the game, such as like armor, the different rarities of armor. I feel like that's not needed. And of course, if armor's not in the game, then shredder rounds is probably not needed either. And I could go on and on about the different perks that are really not needed in the game, but I feel like back in the old days, you kind of had to choose which perks you wanted based on your playstyle or your team's playstyle a lot more. Now, of course, one of the things that was removed was this whole speed and toughness dilemma that was introduced into the game. It got a bit confusing. Is this rogue faster than this rogue? Why is Anvil running quicker than that rogue? It all got a little bit confusing, and eventually they went ahead and removed it, and it was one of the things that Jared did, and I'm so glad he did that, to be honest. But other than that, they were probably the 3 biggest fundamental changes to where Rogue Company is right now to where it was way back when. If Rogue Company did make 2.0, these are some of the things that I would like to see, and if you don't agree, do let me know in the comments down below, because I've already had some really cool discussions with people on Twitter @_bradUK if you want to have a chat with me. But these are just some things that I personally like to see, but if you want to see some other things, also let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to reply to all your comments. So if Rogue Company were to make 2.0, these are the things that I would like to see. So first of all, I'd like to see 8 perks reduced down to 6 perks, and all the perks that are just irrelevant and not needed gone. So armor gone, shredder rounds gone. There are probably a few other, but those specifically just get rid. Secondly, and probably more of a controversial one, melee weapons. I think the price of them needs to be increased to a decision where you're going to buy your legendary perk or you buy the melee, because having a one-shot kill weapon that is relatively cheap to purchase in the game, I feel like it's a little bit gimmicky and don't really like it. Next of all, I feel like Rogue Company 2.0 needs to go back to a bit more of its roots, where it only has like 1 or 2 playlists, going back to a bit more of Rogue Company's roots. But I do really want to focus on the whole tactical shooter element. I would like to see a rank playlist which would have like King of the Hill, Demolition, and say Strikeout in it, and a really good rank system that would encourage everyone to go and play. And I would really hope that that would be the most populated playlist, so everyone could have a good time in it. And then a casual playlist where you could literally just filter whether you wanted to play TDM, Strikeout, King of the Hill, Battlezone, any of those fun game modes. You could just literally have 2 queues, and that would determine what type of player you are and where you wanted to, how you wanted to play Rogue Company. Now let's just imagine for a second that Rogue Company did have to have weapon mastery in it. I would like to see a ban system within ranked and casual where you could actually ban weapons from being used. So you ban the rogues you don't want, you pick the rogues you do want to play, but then say you ban the most meta weapons, say the Sahara and the sniper, and I think that would be really cool because then it forces players to play with guns that they're not necessarily familiar with, and it will change the dynamic of the game. And that's how I think weapon mastery could still exist within Rogue Company without having to remove it. Now, one of the other interesting things I would love to see if Rogue Company did bring out a 2.0 version is Rogue Company implementing a better economy system where you had to either buy your weapons or your perks each round. And I think that that would make a really cool playing dynamic, kind of like how Counter-Strike has. So if you buy, say, an SMG and helping hand that round, for example, you manage to last and one of your teammates wants a sniper, but you don't have a sniper on your team, you could pick up the enemy sniper, spawn, and then drop it for one of your teammates. And then all of a sudden your playstyle changes up because you've now got a sniper on your team and you shouldn't have. And I think that would be like a really cool experience for the viewer. And I think it would make it really interesting and tactical. And yeah, you can see how excited I've been getting by that because I do actually love playing Counter-Strike myself. I think it adds to the layer of how you strategize as a team, and if you want to save your weapon at the end of a round rather than try and win, say, a 1v4 that could be virtually impossible. Now, the last one, and this has caused a lot of controversy over on Twitter, so I just want to make sure that this is I'm just throwing the idea out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Obviously, I have no influence over this, and probably Rogue Company 2.0 is just a pipe dream at this point. But we know how popular first-person shooter games are. You know, Call of Duty, Valorant, Counter-Strike, just to name a few. And they all do incredibly well, and they're all probably... Well, Counter-Strike and Valorant are a lot more strategic, I'd say, than, say, Call of Duty. But would Rogue Company, as a first-person shooter, excel? Would it have a lot more appeal to the mass market than, say, a third-person shooter does? You know, like, with the rogues we all love, with the abilities we love, can you imagine, like, placing an anvil shield and sitting behind it in first person, like, defending a bomb site, or using Scorch and shooting fire out, and you could see it a lot better? I don't know, maybe there's an argument for that. I personally don't know how that would go down, but I'll be willing to try it at this point. You know, I'm happy to try anything to get Rogue Company on the map. But like I said, let me know in the comments down below what you think, and if there's any changes that you want to see to Rogue Company should they ever release a 2.0. And if you've never heard of Rogue Company, please check this video, which is should you play Rogue Company in 2024. But until the next one, take it easy. Peace.